So the real question is, are you getting bopped in multiplayer? I mean, are you getting straight handled? Is this what your face looks like every time you get killed by that first gun that you get in the bounty hunter class that pretty much aims for you? If you are, I'm glad you clicked on this video. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get into some of our tips for beginners when it comes to Modern Combat Blackout for the Nintendo Switch.
You know how much I love that Nintendo Switch!
What's going on, Switch fam? It is your boy QKG, and in this gameplay today, we're going to be going over some beginner tips for Modern Combat Blackout for the Nintendo Switch. And right off the bat, I just got to start this video off by saying you guys have been killing it with the support over the past week. It literally has been boosting my channel up something crazy. You guys been leaving crazy feedback, and I've been trying to get to everybody as quickly as possible. And you guys have literally just been killing it with the support, man. Shout outs to y'all, man. And then also, shout out to the boy Judah Lion, man. He's been showing a lot of support. He even helped me out when I was trying to figure out what was going on with my account, because I was having a lot of connection issues, which I had to even start up a whole second account just to actually get into the game to figure out what's going on. But GameLoft is releasing a hotfix pretty soon, so if you guys are having connection issues, if you get dropped out here and there, that hotfix will be out pretty soon, so just stay tuned for that. Alright, so let's get into the nitty gritty right now. First off, the first thing you want to ask yourself is what settings are you using? If you're using the Joy-Cons, I automatically feel sorry for you. I love the Joy-Cons as a concept. I really love the controllers, but at the same time, I have a love-hate relationship with them. They're really nice when it comes to playing like a lot of action-adventure games, or if you even need to use them for sub-controllers, they're perfect. But I found out when you use it for like a first-person shooter, you may have to bump your sensitivity down a lot because it can feel very spazzy. Like you can move way too quick because the analog sticks are much smaller. It's a lot harder for you to aim at a higher sensitivity. So check in to see if your gyro controls are enabled. If they are, that actually may help you out a lot more if you're playing with your Joy-Cons attached, just to kind of guide your hand in that motion, because you actually will be able to hit shots that way. But for the most part, I actually recommend you using either a Pro controller, or I use the Power A wireless controller that has two mappable buttons at the back. I love this thing. It saved my balls in Fortnite, and it is literally my favorite controller. If you got the bread and you want to invest in a good controller, not even just for this game, but just a good controller, the Power A wireless controller is legit. So the second thing you want to ask yourself is, what class do I want to invest my time in? Because when it comes to this game, you can legit put a lot of time into a certain class and you will definitely get rewarded. To be honest with you, since you level up so quick in this game, once you hit level 51, the Sapper class in this game is so dope. And no, I'm not talking about the first gun. I'm talking about literally the futuristic version of the AK-47. It's literally hands down my favorite weapon. It is tearing everything up. But of course, before you get there, you got to start on somewhere small. When it comes to the Assault class, that class in itself has literally the first three weapons you get are some of the easiest to use weapons in the game. The Compact is literally one of the most reliable weapons in the game because you're going to have it off rip, and the gun has great accuracy, good damage, great recoil control, and especially when you deck this thing out with a foregrip, red dot, and a suppressor, and get those extra bullets in your magazine, the gun is a straight monster. And then, of course, when it comes to like the M14, which they call the Chartec or Charbtec, that weapon is a two-tapper. If you hit them in the upper body twice at a good range, they're Dunsky. Now, if they're at longer ranges, you actually might have to put like 3 shots into them, but for the most part, it's a two-tapper. This gun is straight crazy. I'm literally surprised a lot of people don't main this weapon, because whenever I see it, it always just has a red dot and suppressor, nothing else on it. This weapon is honestly one of the most slept on weapons in the game. And then next up is the G36C, which they call the UFIA PSD2. This weapon, of course, is known as the G36. The only downside to this weapon is that the rate of fire is a little bit slower than the Compact, but it feels much slower than the Compact. And to be honest with you, it's a little bit stronger. The range and the bullet drop off is honestly a little bit better, but when it comes down to the weapon itself, I found myself to where it's a reliable weapon, but it just feels like the fire rate is really, really slow. And I couldn't put my finger on it because honestly, the rate of fire on the G36E is 450, where the compact is 480. And the compact feels like it shoots much faster than that weapon. So honestly, when it comes down to the assault class, literally when you get the red 34, which is like the ACR, the gun demolishes everything. Literally, barely any recoil, very good damage, and good range. I actually leveled up quite a bit by just using the red 34. And then when you get all the way up, and then you get to the enforcer, and you get to like the grinder, you're going to feel the reward. The later weapons that you get completely shred. Like, I mean, they're stoppable, don't get me wrong. But compared to like the earlier weapons that you get, you're going to find out that each weapon itself has something good and something bad about it. So when it comes to your very first 3 weapons, honestly, the assault class is probably one of the most easiest ones to use. And you're also going to have that berserker skill to where you're actually going to do more damage when you activate this skill. So when you go into battle and you actually tap L on your controller, it's going to go into this weird berserk mode where you're going to be able to do a lot more damage. And a lot of times it actually saved me in a lot of gunfights. So when it comes to the assault class, that is one that you want to put your time into. The recon class is okay. But to be honest with you, there's only a few SMGs I really like. Another tip that you really want to keep in mind is that grenades do radius damage. I know in a lot of games that doesn't really mean too much. Like you can throw a grenade, hide behind a wall, and you won't be damaged. If I throw a grenade and you're literally on the other end of the wall and the grenade is touching the wall, you are dead. Instantly you are dead. Grenades in this game are, I'm not going to say everything, but you see a lot of people when they're in trouble, they just throw a grenade down. I even find myself doing it a lot. But the good thing is when you use the recon class, you get an extra grenade to throw down, and your explosive damage is actually increased by 10%. And then on top of that, allies within 10 meters will deal 10% more damage, which doesn't apply to yourself, unfortunately. And of course, I talked about that berserk mode. So literally, the assault class is an all-around fun class to use, and I can't lie, man, it's actually one of my favorites. One class you actually might want to look into is actually the heavy class. The shotguns in this game are really, really strong. Honestly, if you use the romp kit, that shotgun, it will peel somebody muffin cap back blue. The shotguns do really good damage. Just make sure you're kind of strafing your enemies to get those hip fire shots off. I will say early on when you do use the shotguns, use them after you've got a feel of the game. Use them after you've been experimenting with different weapons in the assault class and getting used to like hip fire spreads and all that. Get used to the aiming first before you jump into shotguns, because if you jump straight into shotguns, you're not going to hit nothing because they do feel a little bit different. I will say that. But for the most part, shotguns are a blast to play in this game, literally. So to summarize this video, when you first start on the game, check your settings. If you were using like Joy-Cons, I didn't enjoy them too much, but having the motion controls on and I just have to edge my controller over just a little bit actually did help me out. So I will say that. And if you're using like a Pro controller or the Power A controller, which I'm using, you will have honestly an easier time aiming when it comes to the game, just because the analog sticks they're just bigger. They have a lot more area to maneuver around. And also, the assault class is a very good class to invest in early on. And as soon as you get to the red 34, you're going to be falling in love with that weapon because it is just so dangerous. And also, the shotguns are just so fun to play in this game. And also, the grenades are your best friend in this game. If they're behind a wall and you throw a grenade on the other side, they're going to get hit by it regardless. It is literally your best friend, which is why I recommend the assault class, because you get 2 grenades and 10% AoE increased damage. So that would have to actually end it off for this tip video. And I'm going to get into like class reviews and gun reviews. I'm going to try to tackle them either in groups or I might do them individually. So I've been listening to you guys in the comments. You guys just been killing it. I already know I said this earlier, but you guys been tearing it up, boy. It's been performing my heart, you know what I'm saying? So, without further ado, guys, we're just going to end this video off. Leave your comments down below. Tell me how you've been doing in multiplayer. Tell me if you've been tearing it up, if you've been having issues, if you've been having connection issues, anything of that nature. Dump it in the comments down below, man, so I can chop it up with you guys. So, I would like to thank you guys for tuning in. This is your boy, QKG, and peace out.